Hello everyone, this is Orlando from A Collector's Dream, and today I'm outside and hopefully you could hear the little waterfall. Nice and relaxing here in South Florida. A little bit of a cloudy day, but it's a beautiful 75-degree day today here. And today I'm going to talk about boxing, and you know, I do collect some boxing cards, and I do have some old cards, especially from the Goodwin Champions, and that's what I want to share today. And the card I'm going to share today is the 1888 Goodwin Champion, Jack Dempsey. And this one is in a 7.5, which is the highest graded example of the Jack Dempsey card in both SGC and PSA. But what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about Jack Dempsey, because, you know, everybody gets this Jack Dempsey confused with the other Jack Dempsey. And there's a big difference, because this Jack Dempsey was the first champion, middleweight champion, basically. And, you know, he is overshadowed by the other Jack Dempsey of the 30s, who was a heavyweight champion. But the difference is that this guy here was the best and the first middleweight champion of the world. And they created the championship belt, the middleweight champion belt, for Jack Dempsey. Jack Dempsey was born in Ireland. And he came to this country and came to New York as a child and worked in the Brooklyn Barrel Factory before venturing into wrestling and then into boxing. And in these days, guys, this was like bare knuckles. You're talking MMA style boxing here, you know, no gloves or nothing like that. And you fought until the guy just, you know, was done, you know. So he turned professional as a lightweight in 1883 at the age of 20. And Dempsey was unbeaten in his first 14 fights. In 1884, he earned a chance to go against the champion, Fulijamis, who had claimed the middleweight championship. Dempsey knocked out Fulijamis out in the 22nd round to become the American and the world middleweight champion. So he became the champion. And I'll give you a good look at this card. It's just a beautiful card. Look at the artwork on that card from 1888. Just incredible how they made that. And look at the ring, how the ring was back then and how they fought. That was a pretty strong guy, you could see. And there's the ring. There's the shoes that they wore. And again, this Jack Dempsey, pugilist. Old Judge Gypsy Queen cigarettes. That's where it came from, in the cigarette packs. And Jack Dempsey was called, his nickname was the Non-Pareil. Non-Pareil was a French name which meant without equal, because there was no equal back in those days. You know, he had a record of 50-3. And out of the three losses, they say that two of them were rigged. You know, but, you know, he fought on both coasts. He remained unbeaten until 1889, when he fought George LeBlanc in San Francisco. In their first encounter, 3 years before, Dempsey had knocked out LeBlanc in 13 rounds. This time, the two battled for 32 rounds. Can you imagine 32 rounds of bare knuckle hitting, smashing? You know, and take a look at the back of this card. The back has the checklist, as you can see. And it has all of the boxers. The top boxer in those days was John L. Sullivan. And you can see the pugilists there, which are Jack Dempsey, Jake Kilrain, Mitchell, Jen Smith, and John L. Sullivan. So that's the back of the card. And it basically just has the checklist. And these cards were printed by hand. And you can see this one has almost an imprint of another card, because they were printed by hand and kind of stacked. And the way that these were done is one color was placed at a time. So it was literally hand printed cards, you know. So, you know, he did knock out LeBlanc finally. And so he, you know, at that point, the only guy that had beaten him, he beat him. So, you know, at the time, you know, they also had punches, like I said before, it was almost like not WW, it was like MMA, you know. Back in those days, Dempsey and LeBlanc, you know, they just threw punches. And LeBlanc had a punch that was called the pivot punch, which is, of course, illegal now. The pivot punch was thrown using a backhand motion so that the puncher's elbow, forearm, or fist would connect to the victim's head. The move was declared illegal, and though Dempsey lost that fight, he was permitted to retain the title. So he had lost that fight because of that backhand smash that the guy had done, and they finally said it was illegal. So Dempsey became the undisputed middleweight champion with his victory over Billy McCarthy in 1891. He faced Hall of Famer Bob Fitzsimmons in New Orleans. Fitzsimmons, who would later go on to take the heavyweight championship, he beat Dempsey. He knocked Dempsey down, and in the 13th round, he pleaded for Dempsey to give up, but Dempsey refused, reportedly saying, "A champion never quits." Finally, Dempsey did finally go down and was defeated. A punch to the throat in this fight affected Dempsey's speech for the remainder of his life. So you can see, I mean, they threw punches in his throat, they threw punches everywhere. Back in those days, it was just a crazy, wild fight. Like I said, it's almost like, you know, barehanded knuckles, almost like an MMA without the kicks, you know. So anyway, Dempsey, you know, he fought a few more times after that, but really he is considered, you know, the the top champion back in those days. For many years, he was the first middleweight champion. And here's a picture of Dempsey here, so you can see his actual photo of Dempsey. He was called John Edward Kelly, actually, but he changed his name to Jack Dempsey. So you can see how that is compared to the card, how they made that. And here's a picture of him getting knocked out by Fitzsimmons in the fight, a drawing, because of course back in the days there was no you know, nothing, no radio, no TV, no nothing. So, you know, out of you know, his record, he only lost 4 fights out of 68 fights. He only lost actually 3 times he lost. And you know, at the end, unfortunately, you know, Dempsey died, and he was only 32 years old. What happened to Dempsey was that he got, in his final bout, Dempsey was suffering from tuberculosis, and then he lost that fight to Tommy Ryan. Though Dempsey beat his first battle with tuberculosis, he died at the age of 32 in Portland, Oregon, home of his wife's parents, in 1895, due to a reoccurrence of the disease. So, you know, he was the first middleweight champion of the world. They created the middleweight championship belt for Jack Dempsey, non-Pariel, which is without equal, because in those days he was without equal. So I'll give you another look at Jack Dempsey, the original Jack Dempsey, the original middleweight champion of the world. The other Jack Dempsey was a heavyweight champion, but this Jack Dempsey was only 5'8", about 175 pounds. So he really wasn't, he was a middleweight champion of the world. So wanted to share that with you guys. The 1888 Goodwin champions, N162 of Jack Dempsey, the first middleweight champion of the world, in a beautiful 7.5, the highest graded card of Jack Dempsey. So that'll give you a good look at him. So thanks, guys. Really appreciate you watching my videos. Please remember that Sammy and I have our 2,000 subscriber contest going on right now. We're about 20 subscribers short of 2,000. We hope to get there soon, and then we're going to have a big live stream party. So if you haven't entered the contest, we're going to give away 8 cards and have a few other fun things to do. If you haven't entered the contest, go to my Saturday video which was the contest video, and just like and subscribe to that video. Okay, good look at Jack. Just like and subscribe to that video, and leave me a comment. That's it. So thanks, guys. Appreciate you watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing, and hope to catch you on the next one. This is Orlando from A Collector's Dream. Have an awesome, awesome day, everyone, and thanks for watching.